Namaste, everyone. So if you've been hearing all this talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, dimensions, ascensions, light bodies, crystalline DNA, and all of that, and none of it makes any sense, please stay with me for a bit because I want to explain this in a way that is simple, sane, in a grounded way, and most importantly, rooted in actual Vedic and Agamic wisdom, not the confusing soup of Western spirituality mixed with physics. But first, let me say this very clearly. The word dimensions, the way it is thrown around today in the spiritual communities, is a modern invention. It's a Western language tool to claim intellectual ownership and superiority. You take physics, you mix it with spirituality, you throw in some computer-generated shapes and grids, and suddenly you have a brand new system that sounds scientific, mysterious, and exclusive. It sounds like only a special group of advanced beings can understand it, dimensions, and they will kindly sell you a workshop to take you from 3D to 5D. It's brilliant marketing, and it's also in many cases pure, unadulterated BS. I apologize if I sound cynical, because I feel if we don't speak our truth, the world will be further misled by materialistic and ego-driven people. Honestly, when did spiritual growth become all about platonic solids and spinning tesseracts on the screen? When did dimensions become about flashy shapes instead of inner states of consciousness? Only a mind that is deeply conditioned to think in material terms, in visuals, in objects, in things you can render with the software, can take something as subtle as consciousness and turn it into an animated logo. But I don't blame anyone, because people are sincerely trying to make sense of their inner world. The intention is often good. The language is just very confusing. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what any of this meant either, dimensions. The more I heard people talk about 3D, 4D reality, 5D reality, the more confusing I became. And the more I tried to understand it, the more frustrated I got. So I did what I always do. I went back to the roots. I researched into the Vedic texts, the Agamas specifically, and Shaiva tradition like Kashmiri Shaivism and Tantra. And slowly I started to see what's going on. So before I begin, let me also say something else. Some people who are very invested in the Western dimension system might get a little triggered by what I am about to share. Some may want to argue or take digs in the comment section or try to debate. And I'll tell you right now, I am not going to respond to any of that, because this is not my system. This is not my invention. This is simply a grounded explanation of the Shaiva Agamas, Shiva Agamas. And if someone wants to argue, they can argue with Shiva, not me. I'm just passing it along. So what I found when I looked at the Agamas about dimensions. Now, for context, the Shiva Agamas are preserved in the south of India. The Agamas were lost in the north because of invasions and destructions of temples, destructions of scriptures in the north. So let's clear one thing first. What they call dimensions are actually states of consciousness. And since science, the Western science, calls consciousness as a thing created by the mind, they had to call it dimensions, a physical place to describe the states of consciousness. In fact, according to the Agamas, all these dimensions are already within us as states of consciousness, from gross to subtle states of consciousness. And the Agama states that we can experience all these states as we expand our own consciousness. Some of them talk about 15 dimensions, some talk about 7 dimensions of the mind. And psychology talks about 4 dimensions of consciousness, and from a completely different angle. So if you ask, how many dimensions are there according to the Agamas? The only honest answer is, it depends on which tradition, which teacher, which model are you looking at. The classical Agamas themselves talk more in terms of tattvas. Tattvas means fundamental principles of reality. And lokas, planes of existence. The play of Shiva and Shakti, and different states of consciousness. Not 3-dimension, 5-dimension, 11 dimensions, 27D, as a fixed, branded ladder up the consciousness. Those numbers are just teaching frameworks, not eternal cosmic serial numbers. So, how do we make sense of all of this? Here's where it started to become clear for me. When I looked past the marketing layers and the numbers, I saw one common thread in all of these systems. They are trying to describe how awareness moves. How we go from being locked in a physical body and survival, which is the 3D world, to becoming aware of energy, emotions, intuitions, which is the 4D world, fourth dimension world, and on to opening the heart and higher intelligence, the 5D world, and even to subtler space of witnessing the self, which is the sixth dimension world, and to even subtler planes of merging into pure consciousness, the seventh layer of consciousness. Whether someone calls it 4 dimensions, 7 dimensions, 11, 13, 27, the essence here is we are talking about different states or layers of experience. You see, the Vedas talk about 3 bodies: the gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. The 5 koshas, the 5 layers: the food layer, the energy layer, the mind layer, the intelligence layer, and the bliss layer. It talks about the 14 lokas, 14 worlds from dense to subtle realms. Talks about 36 tattvas, 36 principles, from earth to pure Shiva consciousness. Modern teachers include new ones. They add up layers and they include these into their own dimension models. Different teachings. 11 dimensions of the universe in some Shiva-based teaching, 27 dimensions of consciousness in some New Age streams, and many other variations. So when someone says that we are going from 3 dimension to 5 dimension to the 5th dimension, what they are really pointing to is, in a clumsy way, is that we are moving from a purely physical, survival-based identity to a more subtle, energetic, emotional, spiritual, and unified awareness. That part is true. But the story around this is where it gets messy. The most honest way to talk about 3D, 4D, 5D, etc. is, instead of pretending that the Agamas secretly has this clean 3D to 27D chart, yes, I'd rather talk to you honestly from my point of view. Here's how I see it. When people talk about 3D in the spiritual world, they usually mean, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this status, and I have to survive. In the 3D state of consciousness, life is mostly about matter, survival, money, security, senses. This roughly matches the physical body and the 5 tattvas: the earth, water, fire, air, and space. And when they say 4th dimension, they usually mean that I feel energy, I feel emotions intensely. I notice patterns. In the 4th dimension state of consciousness, you start healing. You question your conditioning. You become more sensitive. This fits more with the energy body and emotional body, mind, prana, and manas. And when they say 5th dimension, they usually mean I feel connected. I feel guided. I want to live from the heart. And fear is not driving me the same way it used to. In this state of consciousness, there is more compassion, there's more clarity, sense of purpose. This is closer to the higher mind and bliss layer, which is buddhi, vijnana, and ananda. Are these exact scripturally precise? No. But they are close enough as a teaching model, a teaching language. And then beyond that, Agamic and Shaiva tradition talk about subtler and subtler states. The state of witnessing of self. A subtler sixth state of consciousness. An even more subtle state. The experience of pure Shakti. The seventh state. Then the non-dual state of Shiva Shakti unity, even subtler. And finally, Paramashiva. Paramashiva is pure consciousness beyond all states. You can call those higher dimensions if you like, as long as you remember that these are states of consciousness and not physical places. It's not a cartoon universes, and it's certainly not branded assets to be trademarked. So the safe and grounded way to look at all of this is, don't worship the numbers. Look at the direction, from gross to subtle, from outer to inner, from form to formlessness, from me to I am, and even subtler to no separate me at all. So after going through all this, the Western models, the physics, language, the Vedic texts, the Agamas, Tantra, Shaivism, here's what I personally landed. You don't need to stress about whether there are 4, 7, 11, 13, 27 dimensions. No. Numbers belong to the mind. The journey belongs to your heart and your practice. And for you and me, the real work is very simple. Can I become a little less identified with just my body and my survival today? Can I be a little more aware of my prana, my emotions, my thoughts today? Can I live a bit more from my heart, from my honesty, from clarity? Can I sit quietly and taste, even for a moment, the stillness behind all of this? That's it. You are moving dimensions here in the only way that it really matters to us. And I'll repeat what I said before because it's important. If all of this is feeling confusing, you are not less intelligent. You are not spiritually behind. I was confused too. I still am in many ways, because this stuff is subtle, very subtle concepts. We are all learning all the time. So instead of chasing new charts and new diagrams and new dimensions and new number systems, let's just grow in awareness, slowly, sincerely, layer by layer. The rest will take care of itself. Understand?